Good evening. This is Rhonda from Hamden Action Now again. We have a star-studded, action-packed night of Black women in politics in the state of Connecticut. Tonight, we have had Representative Robin Porter from the 94th District, where we completely support her as our representative legislator in the 94th District. And just now, we also have Alicia Hernandez Strong. She is running for mayor of the city of New Britain. We are so proud and excited to hear about her platform and her plans, because here on Hamden Action Now, Black and Brown United, Unidad, Latina Nacion, and Bridgeport Action Now, we support Black female leadership in the state of Connecticut. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Ho, ho!
Hey, how are you, Alicia? How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, good. This is CJ from Black and Brown United, in Holville section of New Haven. I'm Hamden Action from the 8th District of Hamden, and we are so excited to meet you. We're so excited about your plans when you announced that you were going to run and you started preparing to run for the mayor of the city of New Britain. I was so excited, and I was like, oh, let me get her on our page immediately so we can hear more about you and your platform. So tell us, we're excited.
Yeah, maybe I'll start by telling y'all a little bit how I started out. So I am from the city of New Britain. I went through the public schools. I grew up in the city. And like a lot of cities, like a lot of urban cities in the state, we have problems with education funding. We have problems with ensuring people have the social services we need. And we're a working class town. And for the past few years, I've seen the people's voices not being heard in New Britain. I've been doing political activism and community organizing in the city for about 5 years. But recently, after the murder of George Floyd, a lot of racial justice work started to be revamped. And I started the New Britain Racial Justice Coalition to address the inequities in the city. A few of the initiatives we pushed were widely popular, which included the Police Civilian Review Board to promote police accountability. And we promoted the removal of the Columbus statue. Both of those initiatives were completely pushed aside by the Republican council and the Republican mayor. And I realized that if we really want to make change in the city of New Britain, it's going to take new leadership. And I was tired of waiting around for a new leader to appear. The current mayor has been in office since I was in high school. I actually played at her first inauguration. I was still in high school. So she's been, and before her, there was just one Democratic mayor who was in for 2 years, and then her father was mayor. So we have kind of this long running Republican rule in a majority Democratic town with a high working class populations of color. And for me, I thought it was time for someone to stand up for poor and working class folks in my town. And that's really why I decided to run.
That is so cool. I mean, and I cannot when I hear about those legacy of, elections, the daughter runs and then the father. I mean, come on, what kind of democracy is that? I mean, it's so exciting. What are the major legislative priorities? I know it's probably the budget like we have here in Hamden. What are the intricate, some of the nitty gritty things that you specifically are your goals that you want to address?
Yeah, I have a number of goals. And again, all of them are centered on the poor and working class of people, which make up a majority of the town. The first one is police accountability. We've always had a problem with police in New Britain. I remember growing up, my dad being followed by the New Britain police coming home from work every day. I remember seeing my friends in high school go through the school to prison pipeline because going to New Britain High School meant that if you got into a fight at school, you were immediately arrested by the on-site police officer who works there. So for me, one of my big priorities is police accountability and to really start addressing crime in the city by looking at the root causes of crime, which I believe are mental health issues and poverty. So what the city of New Britain has been doing for decades as they have been funneling people into the prison system, whether through the school or through other means. They've been over policing poor communities, poor Black and brown communities, and that is how we currently deal with social issues in New Britain. So it's an important component of my campaign to actually reallocate money from the police budget to invest in affordable housing, to invest in services for the youth, since we've seen an uptick in juvenile crime, to really invest in the people in this community. Because what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing the current administration is trying to attract wealthier businesses and wealthier people from outside to come in. And we know that that'll just drive up the prices for everyday people who are actually living in the city. So my campaign is prioritizing the people who are here in the city, strengthening our community in that way.
So they're trying to gentrify it now. Now they're trying to bring in the wealthy community to get it on the cheap.
Yes.
And then it's no longer affordable for the poor people that you've made poor. They made them poor. They didn't get poor by themselves, right, CJ? Isn't that so? Well, thank God for you, right? I mean, thank God you're coming in right in the nick of time.
Yeah, we are starting to see the beginning stages of gentrification in the city of New Britain. Recently in downtown New Britain, they developed these luxury apartment buildings. They're totally above market rate. I'm looking for a new apartment in New Britain and I couldn't afford to live there. They're extremely high, especially looking at the average income of a resident in New Britain. And it's especially concerning because we have an affordable housing crisis in the city. We have a number of people homeless. And in fact, if you look out the window overlooking Main Street, you'll see homeless people in Central Park right in front of these luxury apartments. So there's kind of this beginning of gentrification happening that's really concerning and should be concerning for all residents.
Well, this reminds me of New Haven because we used to have the Chapel Square Mall years ago, downtown New Haven. And as you know, this is a gentrified city. I live on the gentrified side, the poor side. There's no such thing as affordable right here. Many of the constituents and residents, you have to have at least one, or not even one, more than one paycheck to afford rent. And then you have Yale that's just sitting there not being taxed. And it really weighs on our necks because as what happened earlier this week with that crime with the Yale student, and then to find out how it all went down and who got criminalized first was the Black and brown people. And to add to what you're saying with the over policing, I have a huge problem with SROs because it starts in the school. This is not how we address the issues. I mean, especially I'm very concerned given what has happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, let's be realistic here. While what you're saying about New Britain is, is majority Republican, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm like, you know what? New Haven says it's democratic, but that's not what it feels like. That's not how it functions, You look at what happened with COVID-19 and the absenteeism with the children, and nobody is thinking about the fact that one of the biggest things that is throwing off these numbers is the fact that our system, if you log into class late, you're automatically considered absent for the entire day. And not enough parents know that you could actually contest that by showing that, no, wait a minute, so-and-so actually arrived. And this goes further back pre-COVID because there were a couple of times when my daughter's bus arrived to school late and she was marked absent. How was she marked absent if she showed up on the bus that got there late? And there's other factors affecting the children now. Some of them are caregivers for their house. Some people have the homelessness. I mean, we have this big luxury building complex downtown New Haven, but
same thing.
About 10 feet away from that exit from that building, you find crack pipes and homeless people. When was it, 2019? There was a big drive for the homeless. And, it is an issue. I'm really glad that you're taking this on. It is a very brave thing you're doing because as you saw with Rep. Porter, this is what politics looks like when Black and brown women who mean it for the Black and brown people get involved. Not the yes
Yes.
people, but the ones who are there to actually say, no more, we're changing this. And I am here to say I'm supporting you. Black and Brown United supports you. You know, we want to see you win. We're looking forward to seeing you win. And we want to see you do a Stacey Abrams, just like that.
Yes, yes, we got to get out there and knock these doors,
Mm-hmm.
and get these folks out to the polls,
Mm-hmm.
because they have to get. We need to do it statewide,
Mm-hmm.
but towns like New Britain, Waterbury, New Haven, Hartford, Bridgeport, folks, we got to get y'all out. You cannot continue to sit back. Here's this lovely young woman with great ideas and goals and plans to turn your community around, and
Right.
just in the nick of time, because before you know it, you're not going to be able to afford to live there, period.
That's right.
And then
That's
when the
right.
wealthy folks come, what comes behind them? The police.
Mhm.
Right after the wealthy folks move in, the cops come right behind them.
And poverty.
Because, right. And then the
Mm-hmm.
people who are already living in poverty live in even worse poverty, impoverished conditions. We
Mm-hmm.
have right here in New Haven, we have a tent city. I got pictures of it.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
excited for you.
New Britain is interesting because, and just to make it clear, we have a Republican majority in council, and we have a Republican mayor, but a majority of the people registered are Democrats. We
Right.
vote solidly Democrat in the election. We voted solidly for Johanna Hayes. So in all of the other positions besides the municipal government, we vote strongly Democrat. It's only in this municipal level that we are Republican, which is really interesting. And we
That
are
is
about
interesting.
maybe 50% almost people of color. And we've never had a Black or Latinx mayor in this city. We've only had white mayors. So I would actually be both the first Puerto Rican mayor, first Latina mayor, and I'd also be the first Black mayor if I were to win.
You're gonna
I
win.
am
Not
so
if. When you win.
I'm so
When
excited.
you win.
Oh
We're
my
calling it into
God.
fruition. When
Yes,
you
when I
win,
win.
we're all gonna meet
Yes.
up for drinks and toast. Who want to drink water, who want to drink what. But we're gonna toast to that because that is a huge move in a state that looks blue on the outside. And this is what I mean about the gray on the inside. It happens at different levels, right? Look at what you just said. You have all these registered Democrats, but look at where the Democrats are not sitting. How did that even happen?
Exactly. Totally weird, right?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know. Look at
I am
West
so
Haven.
excited.
Isn't it kind of the same as West Haven with the same thing? Because I feel like it's almost the same, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. But then when you look at who participates in those elections, and if we were to go into voter suppression, then you start to pull the curtain and you say, whoa, I didn't know that was behind there. So it's not,
Mhm.
it's interesting, but it's right in front of us. But it's like you said, Rhonda, and as Alicia's saying, it's to get the people out and to recognize the need to be actively involved in democracy. And this is why what happened Tuesday at the Labor and Public Employees Committee hearing is a big deal because it's supposed to be for the people to be able to testify, share their stories, talk their ideas, and be actively involved in policy making. That is a form of voter suppression. And, you know, what's happening in New Britain, what's happening in West Haven and East Haven is another one. So it's not that uncommon, but it's so normalized. And this is why we got it. We can't let Representative Aurora obstruct us because these people are mad. They want to make sure we stay in our place, and we have to get up and stand up. That's what I know.
I'm sure the Republicans in New Britain are like out of control, like the
Mm.
Republicans are all over the state. I'm sure they're all they're all out of sorts right now.
yeah, and Republicans in New Britain are very interesting. If you look at the current mayor, she'll say all of the things that we associate with liberals and Democrats. She'll say Black Lives Matter. She'll say immigrants' rights matter. She'll say she supports marriage equality. But then when you look at her policies, it doesn't match what she's saying. She's working for a very particular elite class of people in the city. She's really not benefiting everybody.
Wow. Well, when you get ready to start knocking doors and you get your lit and you start advertising, please share with us your links to your website and all the things that you're going to need to market your and brand your because really you're like a movement mayor. You'll be a mayor that'll be elected based on a movement and changing what the leadership looks like in New Britain. And Lord knows it needs it. Because like you said, when you look at, the graduation rate from high school and whatnot, we look at all these things, all this data and say, why are we not achieving, and why are we still in this, our income levels are not rising. It's clearly because of leadership. Yeah. And it's these little political microaggressions that I call it. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited.
Me too. I'm really excited.
During your campaign, while you're campaigning, please come back so we could talk some more and hear more about all the excitement.
Yes, right. Absolutely. Definitely will.
All right. So ladies, I know you have to go, Alicia, because we started late because we've just been going all evening trying to elevate and Black and brown women in leadership and political leadership in the state of Connecticut. So we don't want to hold you. I know you got another engagement at 8:00, but thank you so much for coming and talking to us tonight. Yes. And I'm going to reach out to you again and say, come talk to us some more. We want to hear more.
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you so much for coming, ladies, and have a great night.
Good night.
Night.